Welcome to the Helm developer call for Thursday, March 14th, 2024. I'll drop notes in for those who don't have it. Chat. Okay. We have a few things here in the announcements that I'll start with. First, we're skipping next week's call because it's KubeCon, so that won't be happening. And then there's a sign up for booth duty for anybody who's going to be at KubeCon. If you've got room for booth duty, please sign up. And Karen is managing that. She's not here this week, so but I think she normally sends out notifications to remind people, all of that good stuff. So if you're going to be there, hint, Joe, you've got time.
I already did.
Good. There we go. Then the other thing I'll say is Helm 3.14.3 went out this week. The one interesting change probably has to do with the CVE. Some docs were updated just to make it brutally clear what functionalities in dry run and what might happen, kind of to put a warning in there so people are aware of it. And that's the announcements. Does anybody have any other announcements? All right. Just the other thing I'll throw in here. There is the CVE response blog post, and the pull request, I can drop that in here, for it is up. So somebody filed I'll get it right into the first discussion topic. Somebody filed CVE 2019 25 210 against us. And we have been looking into it. We have not had an official response yet to it because we didn't know that this was happening beforehand. And the blog post pull request is up, and we need to get somebody on the www team to approve it. I'm going to be poking people today. I'd like to get this post out today, so that way it's up before KubeCon. And when we have this, we can use it to file our official response with MITRE, which is where it was filed through. And so we can say something to them. But in general, we're pushing back that this is actually a CVE. It's a misuse of something rather than a CVE in Helm. But you can read the details in the response. We did make a couple of changes this week. One went out in the patch release, which is just better clarification. Another will go out in the next minor release, which is an additional flag to give some more functionality. But this is what we've come up with so far. And some folks helped me write it and craft better grammar than I have.
And we have had outside security experts review.
Yes, and one of the things I'll say is multiple outside security people from multiple companies, and I'll say more than two companies have been consulted on this, and it looks like it's a misuse of the feature rather than a problem in Helm. One of the people even kind of gave a little rant on how Kubernetes handles secrets. But it was not considered by them to actually be a CVE in Helm. And so multiple people have been security experts on this. So that's where this stuff stands. I'd like to get this posted before KubeCon. So when this is a talk there with some folks, we do have a response people can refer to. Any questions, anything on this?
No, I mean, that seems like the feature's working as expected. So it's one of those ones where it's, I don't know, like, yes, it prints the password, but that's also what it's designed to do.
Yeah, and the use case here, some people want to use this in CI, and that's why the flag was added. The previous attempts that folks have tried to add this flag in, I went to look to see if any of them were ever mergeable, and they just weren't. It turns out it was a lot easier. The pull request itself is fairly small. The only reason it's such a large pull request is I added tests for every situation I could think of. So the CLI is tested, the SDK is tested, all of those things, even bad combination of properties being set before, you know, the feature couldn't even be usable is tested and throws an error. So that's the reason it's so big. It was actually rather small on the functionality side, but people who tried to do this in the past overcomplicated it. Okay. The next one is also me. And that's the security list thing. So we do have a security list and we need to update who's on it and all of that stuff, which if I can get past some of the security things will happen. But we've been getting a number of things lately that are interesting. It's almost like people are poking at the project from that standpoint. Like one email came in today to the list. It had to do with something that they start off, it's not a CVE, but they noticed in versions of Helm from 5 years ago, there were certain places where we didn't provide the SHA-256 that we probably should, but we do it today. So, right, and it didn't even have to do with security. It had to do with integrity, and they're mixing it up. So we're getting poked at it from people who aren't necessarily security experts. Don't look at the SHA-256 for security. You look at signing for security, that kind of thing. That's where things like PGP signing or cosign or things like this coming in, because you can verify it came from who it said it came from, along with is the content what it should be, which is where the SHAs come in. And so there's just a little bit of mixing things I'm seeing going on around Helm and some security expectations that aren't necessarily security. So there's something going on there and I don't know what's going on, but I wanted to bring it up.
I have heard that folks are there's groups that are using like AI to just scan things and flag things and then raise them as issues like as humans. So it could be that there's a lot of attention just even from that standpoint where people are unleashing it and asking, you know, like, is there anything, you know, here? Possible at least.
Yeah. And so there's just something going on and I'm not sure what.
I was just hoping that it was a social change and that everybody's starting to become security aware.
You know, it would be nice, but some of the things that have been brought up are fairly not security or fairly fringe kinds of things, or just aren't security or misuse of things. It's people I think are more security aware, which is good, or at least some people, but maybe there's a lot of education. But I'm just noticing we're getting poked. We've already had a couple of CVE fixes this year that were mid ones that, you know, they're just odd ones. We probably got some more things like that coming. Okay. That's it. And so I'll pass off the next one. Ian. Hi, Ian.
Hello. I just thought I had marked this one as approved. Seems like a pretty easy fix. I know these folks are pretty eager to, I think it's blocking them on some things. So I just thought I'd raise it up. I you know, marked it as approved, but I'm triage maintainer, so but I think it might count as a second approver. I don't know if this one actually needs it, but
This
it's
is an extra small. Yeah, I'll take a look at this one here. It'll only need, because it's an extra small, it only needs one anyway. So I see Joe's on it. You've been tagged in it, Joe, but I can take a look at this one today.
Is it the one where you had a change request?
No, this one's like literally one line where it seems like we just missed the fact that it has to pass the HTTP proxy into the OCI chart getter.
Wonder if I approved it before I was a maintainer.
No.
No.
What was your thing on
I have no idea then.
that? No, somebody Ian requested your review. That's
Yeah.
it. So yeah, I'll take a look at it later today. I'm poking around at some of this stuff today anyway. So that one there. Yeah, that should be an easy one to get fixed. Maybe in the next patch release next month. Okay. And then I lost my notes. All right. Michael, you have one and you want to know if a pull request can be merged. Yes.
Yes.
And
Okay.
Andrew,
great.
who approved it, should have merged it. So
Okay.
I won't do it live on the call, but I'll do it afterwards.
I know
Perfect.
there-
That's great.
I know there's at least one where it has 2 approvals, but you'd asked for a change request somewhere, so I got pinged
Okay.
on a flight.
Oh, okay. I don't know. This one's easy enough. And then Michael, you got another one here.
Yeah, this is one you've actually looked at this before, Matt, and gave comments on it. The comments were addressed, and Scott looked at it after that, and Scott had looked to see if the comments that you gave were addressed, and he approved it after that there.
Perfect.
So if you get a chance to look at that over as well, that would be great too.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. I've got it
Perfect.
open now with my other ones.
Thanks.
Thank you for bringing that up. I need this. All right. Do we have anything else?
I guess so. I see hip review here, and one thing I just thought I'd mention is, you know, I've had that hip review, that hip for the log output sitting out there for a while. Actually, I need to go over it because I've almost forgotten exactly where we're at on that. But I thought that I left it in a state where it's probably waiting on some other folks to approve it. But if anyone has, I'll actually go back over it and just make sure I'm not forgetting anything. But I think it's like I didn't want to make any more code changes until the hip was approved because I didn't want to like go in and like find, like, I'm like, okay, let's just get the words right and make sure they're right. And then I'll update the reference implementation once like we've agreed on the hip. So just thought I'd throw that one out there, but I'll redouble my efforts and maybe bring it up next time. Oh yeah, in a couple of weeks, and maybe we can actually get that one through.
Okay. Sounds good. One other thing before I forget, it just came and occurred to me, is we have some inactive Helm maintainers and we've got a process around inactivity. And I've started to look up who those are and ping them. One of the inactive people actually would like to talk after KubeCon and chat for a bit. So I don't know what's going on there, but I'm already started to reach out to people who've become inactive. That, you know, impacts things like voting to add new maintainers and things like that. And so I'm reaching out to them because right now it's difficult to add a new maintainer because you can't get them to vote. So some of the inactive folks I'm reaching out to see about what do we need to do there.
Oh yeah.
And for anybody who's
speaking
and
of
for
unable,
anybody who's wondering, oh, go ahead. Sorry, Joe.
so speaking of unable to vote, I'm still not in the maintainer's email list for some reason. I know I was once, but somehow
All right.
I got it.
We'll have to look that up. The other thing is, for anybody who's wondering, I actually still talk to Butcher about some of the security stuff and things like that. So everybody's wondering if he's still around. He's around a little bit. He, on the recent CVEs and things like that, I did talk to him to get his take, especially since a bunch of the code he wrote, and to get some of his take on it. And for maintainers, he's actually responsive usually in voting. Sometimes you got to poke him like everybody else, but he is. So he's actually, even though he doesn't make these meetings, he's still giving advice and involved in some of this stuff.
Like that guy.
Okay. So let's get into maybe assignments. This would be for a 2-week period. I will not be in the meeting in 2 weeks.
Oh, so let's see.
Neither will I.
Oh, Joe won't be here either.
Be on vacation.
Yeah.
Ooh, who do we have that? I wonder, because I kind of feel like having one of the most important parts of this call is having a core maintainer on it.
Yeah.
I
Well,
wonder.
you may have Andrew, you may have
Yeah.
Scott. There's other people who could be there, but yeah, and they don't have to be a
Mhm.
maintainer. They could just be somebody else. But
I'll
yeah.
ping them on Slack to see if we can
And the nice thing about having no
see if we
maintainer-
can get one. But if we can't get a core maintainer, maybe it's one we skip another one.
nice thing about not having maintainers is you can badmouth us and we won't even know about it because you can't record it.
Well, you may also have somebody like Karen who could be here at the time, or somebody like that who can record it, stuff like that. So I would say they don't necessarily need to be a moderator, but having a core maintainer here would be an important thing. I can sign up for PR review in the next 2 weeks though, because I should have space to do some PR reviews along the way.
Cool.
So we got issue triage and notes. Anybody open to that?
I can take notes.
Okay.
Alright.
Thank you.
I guess I'll take issue triage.
All right. And I guess that's it. Anything else? Y'all get 10 minutes back.
Cool.
Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thanks.
Joe, have a wonderful CubeCon. Enjoy your vacation. We'll
Thank
see you
you.
on the other side.
All right.
See ya.
See you, gentlemen.
Bye.